What's going on? Are you somebody new to software engineering? Well, I'm new to JavaScript. I'm also on my path to becoming a software engineer. So, my goal is to just give back some information that I'm currently learning through courses and things that I'm taking, as well as my boot camp that I'm currently about to enter. And I just want to give you guys some ideas, and I want to help you guys go through coding challenges as well and teach you guys what I already know so you can get to where I am. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with this video. Alright, what's going on? Those of you who aren't aware of what we kind of do here is we kind of are currently taking a course on Udemy, and we're about to start this boot camp, but this course is essentially called Zero to Expert. It's on Udemy. It's by Jonas Schmetman. If you don't know who that is, I'll show you a picture right up here and or up here somewhere. Yeah, like right here. Yeah. But you'll see exactly what course I'm talking about up there. And then essentially what we do is we just go over a coding challenge, we read it through, and we go step by step and we work on it together. And you guys can kind of see me troubleshoot a little bit too, because I am new to software engineering, just so you know. But I'm just kind of showing you guys my journey, and hopefully those people who are a couple steps behind me, I can help teach, and that way I can reinstill this knowledge into myself and also spread and help explain this to other people who are a couple steps behind me. So with that being said, if that's you, let's go ahead and dive right into this. So it says right here, let's continue with our football betting app. Keep using the quote-unquote game variable from before. If you don't know what this is referencing, we did check out my previous video. We did a challenge that was up here. That was another challenge though, but right now we're working on this one. So step number one is loop over the game.scored array and print each player name to the console along with the goal number. So currently in the course, we've been learning a little bit about for of loops. We've been learning about looping over arrays with for of loops. We've been learning about looping over objects. We've been talking about destructuring, different things like that. So I'm assuming this is going to involve a good bit of that. So usually what he does is he'll teach us a good bit of lessons, and then we'll do a coding challenge that involves a good majority of all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get started with looping over the game.scored array. Alright, so first off, we've put everything in strict mode, so use strict. That way everything that we type, it can't be, if it's wrong or if it has an error, it will tell us. And we've essentially copy and pasted this game object into here, which is what he's referencing, game.score. He's talking about the game.scored right here. So we would need a loop over this array. So let's go ahead and do that. And what I like to do is I like to copy and paste what each step is and put it inside of here. So we'll do that first. So loop over the game.scored array and print each player name to the console along with the goal number, just like this. So we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna explain exactly what it is. Alright guys, so what we're gonna do first is we're essentially going to make a variable for, you don't have to do this, you could do it another way, I'll show you here in a second, but I just want to do it this way. But we're going to call this variable score, and we're going to equal this to game.scored.entries. So the reason we want the entries is because we want the index too, because it's wanting us to give the goal at that certain position. So for example, next we're going to loop over this, so for const, and because we're essentially going to have to define these, we're going to destruct it. So we're going to make the first value. So the first variable is going to be the index, and then the second one's going to be the element, which is going to be the player name. So the first one, the index, what position is at. The second one, the player name, the element. So we're just going to name goal for the first one, and then player as variable for the second, and then of and score. So down here, and we're just gonna console.log. We're gonna do a temperate literal, and we're gonna do goal. So we're essentially console.logging this right here. So goal. So we can just do goal. But we're going to have to add 1 because the first index in an element or in an array is always going to be 0. So we have to add 1 to that. So it starts off with goal 1, then goal 2, then goal 3, then goal 4. So plus 1. So goal, and then we do a little colon, and then we could just do the same thing right here with player. And if we console.log this, it will give us essentially goal 1, person at that first element, goal 2, person at the second element, so on and so on. Next, let's move on to step 2. Alright, so essentially number 2 is use a loop to calculate the average odd and log it to the console. We've already studied how to calculate it, so this has been done in previous things. So first thing we're going to have to do is make some type of variable. We're just going to call it average and set that to 0. The reason being is this is how we're going to add, we forgot the E there. We're going to add all the values of, it's talking about this odds right here. So we're going to add this to the average variable, this to the average variable, and this to the average variable. Then we're going to divide by 3, and that's how we're going to get the average. So we're going to have to loop over this object, which is this odds. So for const, we're looking for the odd object of. So the question is now, what are we looking for? We're not looking for the keys or the properties really. We're kind of looking for the values, and we don't want both because we don't want the properties. So we just kind of want the values. So the way we do that is we do object dot values at and then we're essentially going to locate it. So we're going to do game dot odds, game dot odds. And what the object dot values method does is essentially just gives you all the values of every single key in that object. So next we're going to do average plus equals, and we're just going to add every single one of these to the average. Alright guys, so if you see right here, we've essentially added this element, whichever the value is, essentially that's what this odd is, and we've added it to the average, and now we're just going to divide average, divide or equals, essentially meaning dividing and also equaling. We're just gonna do, and we're gonna do something that makes it a little more easier to read, not so sore on the eyes. We're gonna put this into a variable. So const odds equal, boom, and then we're just gonna replace this with odds because it's essentially the same thing. And now we're going to divide this by odds dot linked because we want to divide by the length, so however many are in this object. So we're currently 1 2 3, so it's going to be 11 something divided by 3, and then that's going to give us the average right here. So that is step 2. Next we're going to move on to step 3. Alright guys, so one quick thing I want to touch on is, if you notice here in this for of, I don't have well, I do, but I shouldn't. So these should be gone, right? And the reason being is, I'll explain right now. So these curly brackets, essentially, whenever you're dealing with a for of or code block, it's gonna tell you that at every time at odd, you're gonna perform this one time, and then you're gonna move on to this and perform this one time, and then you're gonna log it one time. But if you don't have those curly brackets, it's gonna perform this on every single element that it iterates over, and then it's gonna hit this one with every single element that it iterates over, and then it's gonna log the average at the end. So it's obviously only gonna log it average once because there's only one average, nothing's iterating over average. So if that was a little confusing, I know it was for me, so I had to do a little research and I figured that out. That's why. It kind of makes sense though. But if you're doing a for of loop and you're just trying to iterate once at a time through the whole thing, then essentially you're going to want to use the curly brackets. So on to number 3. Print the 3 odds to the console, but in a nice formatted way, exactly like this. And then it has a little format way. So we're going to essentially break down and do that right now. Alright guys, right here number 3 is, like we said, print the 3 odds to the console. but in a nice formatted way, and essentially wants us to say odd of victory, and then the team name, and then the odd. So um, right here, if you notice, don't worry about these squiggly lines. This the only reason is because we're demonstrating, and we've already created this variable here. That's why it's doing that. But just for the purpose of demonstration, we're just going to keep it the same name. So we've changed a couple things here. Instead of dot values, we've made it dot entries. So same position, just dot entries now. So what that's going to do is it's going to give us an array of the team name and that element. So it's going to give us the key and the property. So what that would look like is it's going to have an array with team1 and then 1.33 and then x 3.25, etc., right? And what we've done is and then we've looped over this, and then for that team name, we've made that just a variable of team, and then for the odd, the number, we've just made that variable odd. So we've looped over odds, which is this right here, those arrays of entries, and we've created a string here. So we've kind of done a ternary operator here too as well, so a little bit of logic, and I'll explain that right now. So if team equals x, so right here, if this equals x, then it's going to give back the word draw. Else, it'll give back victory at game. So if you look here, this is team, so it's going to give back this team 1 or team 2. But if you also look up here, this is named team 1 and team 2 for that very purpose of this example of this game. So we could just do game at team 1, and it's going to give us that string right here. If it's iterating over and it's going to be team 2, it's going to give us this string right here. So else, if it's not draw, it's going to give us victory at that game name. So it's just going to populate that value at that string value. So when you log it, it'll say odd of team string. So at that first iteration, it's going to be team 1, and it's going to give us Bayern Munich. I don't know if I'm saying that name right, but it's going to give us that, and then it's going to give us that odd, which is that first one. So it's going to be 1.33, and it's going to keep doing that over all of them. And if you look here, we did put this in curly brackets. The reason being is because if you did put it in curly brackets, you wouldn't be able to use all this logic and stuff. So essentially, it's going to figure out this logic, and then it's going to move to the next one, and then it's going to repeat that, and it's just going to keep looping until there's nothing else to iterate over, which is in this case only 3 elements. So that's number 3 right there, done. Alright guys, with that being said, I hope that helped you out a little bit. We kind of went over this problem. I'll touch on a couple things that we went over, and then I'll give some brief information, and that'll be it. So hopefully this helped you guys out. We talked a bit about the object key, object.keys, object.values, and we didn't use .keys, but essentially .keys just gives you the property names of everything instead of the values. The object.values obviously gives you all the values, and then entries breaks your keys and your values up into arrays, so you can kind of get both of those back. And we also did a little bit of for of loops, iterating over objects and arrays. We also touched on a little bit of just destructuring. We did do some destructuring, and that was pretty cool. That was fun. And overall, we also threw in the ternary operator. We did a little bit of logic. Overall, I enjoyed this coding challenge. Helped me learn a little bit, and I kind of used my knowledge to the test, put it to the test. I did have to go back and check the video a little bit, but hey, don't feel discouraged if you have to check back on the video as well to kind of, reinstill this knowledge, especially if it's the first time you've done it like me. So that's something that you're going to have to keep in mind as well. You're not going to be perfect the first time. Don't expect to be. This is going to be something that we grow and continuously grow on for the rest of our software engineering career. So yeah. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment if you haven't already. It really helps grow the channel and spread this out to more beginners just like me and you. All I'm trying to do is create a community where we're essentially growing and we're getting our toes wet, however, whatever analogy you want to say. We're essentially going towards that goal of becoming software engineers, and if I'm a couple steps ahead of you, I hope I can give my knowledge and share that. And essentially this is all just to help motivate some people, reinstill some knowledge in me, and also help out a couple of people who are a couple steps behind me, like I said before. And if you want to join our Discord, we do talk software engineering as well. I got awesome people that are in my boot camp that are also on there. We are always talking about software engineering related stuff. Sometimes we'll play some games, but it's just an all around good community. I'm trying to create a awesome community and get to know people and ask them different things and learn different things from them. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, click the Discord link down below. All it takes is 2 clicks and you're essentially in the Discord. You can start getting information, updates and stuff, and you can learn stuff. It's pretty valuable. I would recommend it. Start networking. It's very valuable, especially in this career field. And also on top of that, if you're looking for a PC or anything, I do PC builds. If you see my other videos, I enjoy building PCs as well. Click the link down below. Infinite Gaming PCs. I'll build you an awesome PC. Just fill out the custom PC portion. I'll check that ticket out and I'll get working on it. And also on top of that, I want to let you guys know I do nonprofits where I give a gaming experience to kids, and what I mean by that is I'll take up any type of, whether it's monetary or some whatever physical, whether it's peripherals, gaming parts, PC parts, stuff like that. Put all that stuff together, and I give some kids at random a kid a gaming experience, so that way they can essentially enjoy the pleasures of being able to game like we all had as a kid, hopefully. And if you didn't, I'm sorry for you, but that's essentially what I'm trying to give to kids. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you want to see videos similar to this, I will catch you in this video right here where it's talking about functions and stuff like that. And we're also doing more coding challenges as well. So I'll see you over in this video.